All right, first question is from Mike Triplett. Mike?
Hey, Thomas, how are you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Hey, I'm curious if you've decided to live in the hotel over the next month and, weighing that decision for you.
Yeah, so I am going to get in the hotel. I'm not going to be 100% there every single night. There'll be some times where I need to get home or need to help out, but I'm going to try to stay at the hotel as often as possible.
All right, next question is from Rod Walker. Rod?
Hey, Thomas, I wanted to ask you, as a representative on the NFLPA, just your thoughts on everything the league has done to sort of meet, what the players wanted.
Well, when you say what the players want, there's a lot of players, so there's a lot of different ones. It's always a complicated deal. It's been a huge learning lesson for me the past 2 years with the new CBA negotiation that happened leading up to our deal in March, and then thinking we were done for a while and COVID hitting immediately and then going through that process. So, look, I personally am thrilled with where we ended up. I know there's always going to be people that don't agree with what the end result is. For players that want to opt out, they have that right. And so we've tried to provide the ability for someone to do that if they feel like that's the right decision for them and their family. But also at the same time, I think it's important that players don't knock other players that decide they want to play, that want to take on the risk. I mean, we're all professionals here, and so I think it's important to, we did the very best we could to provide as healthy and safe an environment to work as possible, and at least as far as the minimum standards for that. And then there's obviously teams, if they decide, can go above and beyond that. Obviously, Mrs. B has agreed to put up our whole team and even more staff up in a hotel for the entirety of camp, and so we're obviously grateful for that as well. So I'm happy with where we ended up. I think the potential drop in cap for next year and being able to set the floor at 175 for next year's cap was a big thing, and being able to roll that over 4 years, the losses, I think that was huge. We didn't want to negatively impact one group of players over the other, so I think getting it spread out over 4 years was a win, and kind of, I guess, helped spread the equity of the loss across the group.
Okay, next question is from Catherine Terrell. Kat?
Hey, Thomas, I was
Kat.
curious, just as the father of school-aged children, what's your biggest concern off the field in regards to keeping you and your family safe? And do you feel like you have to look at this fall as kind of a second self-quarantine period?
Look, there's a lot of questions that are still yet to be answered. I view this whole situation as it's just the most layered onion ever, right? There's so many layers to it. And so there's certain things we haven't even gotten to yet, right? My kids aren't even in school yet. We're supposed to be having a meeting with teachers this week to kind of figure out what's happening, what are the details. So, Coach did a great job the other day in our team meeting just talking about, would you treat now any different than if it was the week 17 and we had a chance to lock up the 1 seed? How would you view that in your mind as far as your behaviors? Would you be willing to miss the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl because you were out taking any sort of chance to get COVID and you would just have to be forcibly missing the game? Things like that, I think, really put things into perspective for us as players. And so, look, there's so many things that we're, at least me and my wife, are having conversations about, and I'm sure other players with kids are having conversations about, and it's most important. We just don't have all the information, especially me from my school with my kids. We haven't even gotten that information yet. And I think the kids' side is the toughest because so many kids that are able to transmit it, you don't even know they have it. And that's what's the scary part, is if there's more likelihood of no symptoms, you could it's a harder thing to manage. So we'll have to wait and see, and kind of, we don't know if there's going to be a combo of virtual or if it's all virtual to start. I know some of that has to do with how the state's doing and what the governor ends up deciding. So we're just going to have to keep reacting as new information comes along.
Okay, next question is from Doug Mouton. Doug?
Hey, Thomas, are you
Doug.
confident the NFL can pull this off and start the season on time as it's scheduled right now?
That's above my pay grade. All I know is that we've done everything we can to provide as safe a working environment as possible. I don't think anybody's under the delusion that people aren't going to get COVID. The idea with the testing is that we're hopefully going to catch it before guys have a chance to spread it. I know people have kind of put a negative light on where the NFL's heading with what's happened with some baseball. And I don't know all of baseball's rules, but I know some of the things that happen with decision making aren't up to us, right? It's a third party, there's a test. If you test positive, you're out, right? And you're out of the bubble, or you're out of the team, you're out of the inclusion with the team. And so, that's yet to be seen, right? And I think there's always, as things change, as there's more information that becomes available, or we see how this even, we've got 40 days till our first game, so there's a lot of time to see how this works. And, I'm sure, I don't know what they'll be, but I'm sure there will be changes as the season goes on, or as training camp goes on, as we kind of see the results of testing and what's happening. That's what we're lucky, we get this big drawn out period to do this, and before we even start a game. And so I'm sure there'll be little tweaks and changes as it goes along, but I know everybody's got skin in the game. It's a business, and apart from that, I think we have an opportunity to provide a little, we're in the entertainment business, we have an opportunity to provide a little bit of reprieve from the stressful environment that we're in right now when it comes to all the things that are going on in the world. And so I think we're excited to hopefully provide that for our city and our region.
Okay, next question is from Nick Underhill. Nick?
Hey, I got a specialist question, and this might be more of a kicker question than a punter question, but I'm just curious if, like, the atmosphere for you guys, the fans and everything, ever creates nerves, and if taking them out would maybe change anything about kicking or punting and possibly lead to better efficiency, since guys wouldn't be nervous maybe?
Well, it depends on what your nerves do for you. If you're a guy that needs your nerves to play well, you may have guys that don't do as well because they need that sort of, some guys need that. And some guys are looking to relax more and they don't like it. And so, we've got plenty of nerves when I'm sitting right here on the field and Coach Payton is standing 2 feet behind me, breathing down my neck. That's quite a bit of pressure when there's no crowd noise or anything like that. And so, look, I'm sure there will be some players that do better than they have, and I'm sure there'll be some players that do worse than they have, because you won't know what makes guys tick and what kind of elevates or doesn't elevate players' performances until we get into that moment. But I'm sure we'll see some guys have some seasons that they haven't had in the good and the bad ways.
Okay, next question is for Amy Just. Amy?
Hey, Thomas.
Hi, Amy.
So obviously you had a hand in, working with the new coronavirus protocols, but now that you have been in the facility for a couple days, what has been, an adjustment, a tough one, from just being there and having it be so different than it normally is?
I don't know that there has been a tough adjustment. I think the tough adjustment is in all the staff. It's all of the trainers. I guess in order to get X, Y, or Z done, everything's less efficient. And so, or it's not as good of a product, or whatever. There's just pieces to it that make everything a little more difficult, or you have to go through a little longer process to set up. And so I think for us, it's, just like the public, it's like, just wear the mask and socially distance yourself when you're able to do that. I don't sense that my day has gotten more strenuous or tougher to do. I still can do everything I need to do. You just have to be mindful of a few things, but it's really, I'd say that the burden is on the staff and the people that are assisting us, and so we're really appreciative of that.
Okay, next question is from Andrew Doak. Andrew?
Andrew, I'm not hearing you. I don't know if you're on silence.
There we go. I had to unmute. Sorry. Apologies. Dealing with the technology. How you doing, Thomas? Good to see you.
You too.
This question is probably just a little bit off the wall, but just given the fact that you're one of the veterans in the locker room outside of Breeze, who's been with this team for so long, do you still have the desire every offseason where you want to come back at this point, or have you even stepped back and even taken a thought that maybe I'm near the end of my career and maybe when you get to the offseason, that's something that you're thinking about? I'm not trying to date you or anything like that. I'm just curious if you still have that same energy and juice going into every season.
Yeah, look, I've got plenty of Grays that are dating me, so I'm not worried about any words. Look, I think there's some, number one, you said, am I concerned that I'm towards the end of my career? And the answer is yes, because I love doing this. I don't want to do anything else. I love the training. I love the running. I love the grind of the workouts, and and as you get older, some of those things get harder. I have no intention of this being close to the end of my career. I don't look too far ahead. I know it's super cliche. I've been really fortunate to be around Drew and just watch him persevere and get better with age. It doesn't mean that every piece of you gets better. Obviously, maybe at some point you don't kick it as high or as far, but maybe your mechanics get more efficient. You become more consistent. You become more dependable. You become more accountable to the team. You become a better leader as far as how you mentor young players and helping them figure out what coach just told them to do in the meeting. And I remember feeling like that can be a blur for young players. And so at the end of the day, the answer to your question is I love doing this job. I never thought I would, I was a walk-on, no stars. I had to come back the second year at school and try out again first day of school. So I just wanted to have a chance to play on a Saturday and to be sitting here and have been a part of so much amazing experience, and to call New Orleans my home regardless of what happens moving forward in my career. It's been awesome. And so I'm definitely afraid. I don't know if afraid is the right word, but I feel like I'm more focused than ever because I have a lot to lose. I don't want to be anywhere else. I know if at some point it ended here, I could go. So I think I'd have an opportunity, obviously, to go play elsewhere. I don't want to do that. I want to be here, and so that all factors in. And all I'm going to do is continue to try to find ways to add value to the team on and off the field, and I'm just constantly pressing myself to do that. I feel young. I just got a good workout in, so I'm good.
Your numbers are really good. I just, it's going on year 12. I just always wonder.
It is. Look, there's no doubt there are certain aspects that get a little more challenging every year. But man, experience is a major thing, and that's another cliche thing that you hear people say or talk about, but it's legitimate, right? It's kind of like money in the bank that's gaining interest and compounding every year. That's the same analogy for expertise. As you gain experience, and you almost kind of get into, there's almost no situation you could ever be in that you haven't either been through or plotted or planned for. And so just never being caught off guard and always being prepared really serves someone like me well.
Appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Thomas.
All right, Thomas. Thanks for joining us, and good to see you again.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas.